Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. That intro means it is time in our show where we talk social media with Dr. Alan Rosenblatt, Dr. Digipole on Twitter, and he is making his debut, as all the rest of us are, on video with Take Action News TV and a live Take Action News video stream on our website. Alan, great to see you and hear you. How you doing this weekend?
Hey.
How you doing? Welcome to the show. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
So, Alan, social media was Twitter was how I got my news yesterday about the awful news from Connecticut. What sort of struck you in terms of as an expert on social media about how the news played out and about how people are reacting to the tragedy?
Well, as you might imagine, Twitter was all things to all people. There was a lot of people expressing condolences. When I saw a whole stream of condolences and comments from members of Congress. If you go to the caucus's Twitter list, you can see all of this. Some of them started to getting into some of the policy issues. We need to do something. Some were bold about banning guns. Others were just we need to do something to make sure this never happens, without saying whether it's banning guns or regulating them or that. One tweet that really struck me was retweeted and reaffirmed by Matt Iglesias, that instead of talking about gun control, we should be talking about access to mental health care, which I think is really the underlying problem, that this is a mental health issue and a cultural issue. Canada, I think, has comparable amounts of guns per capita to the United States, and nowhere near the kind of gun violence associated with that. There were hashtags going crazy: Connecticut shooting, CT shooting, Newtown, and the one that's really kind of exploding that drives me nuts is the NRA. NRA hashtag is just being littered with criticisms. The NRA has not tweeted since an hour before the shooting. The last tweet they did was to a contest that they were running, that they're going to be giving out some automobile emergency kits. But when you click on the link, it goes to their Facebook page, and they have taken their Facebook page down. Whether they've done it themselves or whether it crashed, I suspect they took it down themselves. If you go to facebook.com/National Rifle Association, which is supposed to be the NRA's Facebook page, it just loads up your own news feed.
On the Twitter, and not putting out a Twitter message, I'm astounded. I mean, here we are 29 hours after word first came out, and what is to keep the National Rifle Association or anybody who, okay, so you don't want to regulate guns, we get that, but why not send out some message of sympathy or solidarity with the victims? What's keeping them from doing that?
So I agree with you completely, but apparently they put out a statement that is not, I have not been able to find online, but they put out a statement saying that they're not going to say anything until the investigation is, until all the facts are in, which to me kind of says, this is not appropriate. The NRA is the nation's leading voice for gun owners, gun rights, and gun industry. They are the voice. And the fact that they won't even express condolences or sadness is just, it's abhorrent.
And I gather that itself has taken hold on Twitter, that a lot of people, and I saw your tweet yesterday and retweeted it, I know it's gotten retweeted a lot, but that news that the NRA has been silent, that itself has stirred up a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations on Twitter.
Absolutely. And I'm getting people pushing back saying, oh, it's smart that they haven't said anything, or why should they have to say something? And again, I go back to this. They are, and they have positioned themselves intentionally as the premier voice for gun rights, gun industry, and gun owners in America. This was a horrible situation where the guns got taken apparently by a kid from his mother and used. It wasn't his gun, which means that he actually legally didn't have the right to use those guns. Mm-hmm. And he fired off 100 rounds. Where is he getting that kind of ammunition? I mean, all this stuff. These are things that are exactly the kinds of things that the NRA has called for, has lobbied for, and so there just seems to be, regardless of whether they. I mean, I agree. It's too soon for them to get into the policy debate, but a simple statement of condolences, of sadness. I mean, that just seems so obvious, and it's the idea that they would wait until the facts are in to even express that is just repugnant.
Alan, we heard that the White House got a petition that's gotten more than 25,000 signatures, which is sort of the White House threshold for them, forcing them to sort of comment, asking the White House to take up gun control. What are some of the other things that are out there now that are brewing for people who want to pressure members of Congress or pressure the administration to take some action, to take up gun control? What are the various routes that people can follow?
Well, you can quickly go to Google and search the name of your representatives or senators and the word Twitter and get their Twitter account and tweet directly at them, which I think is probably a really good way to jump in quickly. Twitter seems to be the place where a lot of the immediate action is taking place, a lot of the national conversation. I think just, whatever most members of Congress are on Twitter and using their Twitter handle and tweeting at them. You can go to your member of Congress's official page on house.gov or senate.gov, and they have an email form on the site where you can just click right through and email them your comments. So those are things that you can do on your own. I'm sure at this point, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure that change.org and signon.org and the petitionsite.com all have petitions up and around. I think you can go to Brady Handgun Control and see some stuff there. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but you can just jump right in and do it yourself. And in many ways, this would be far more organic and far more compelling if you tweet at your members of Congress, if you post on their Facebook walls, if you email them directly from the forms on their website, even call the offices. I mean, just flood. Obviously, calling today, not so much, because it's the weekend and they don't do work on the weekend, even with the cliff looming. They don't seem to be doing work on the weekend.
So, Alan, we always love to talk to you, of course, about how to take videos and audio and whatnot and send it around to your friends and get a lot of attention. You just gave us an example inadvertently through a hiccup of, and because we're recording this and we're going to be posting the YouTube clips. So, give me some advice. Here I am. I've got a great Alan Rosenblatt clip. Or any video clip, and it's going to be posted on YouTube. What's the best way for me to spread this around to say, hey, I got something that's pretty funny that I think people will find amusing?
Well, we'll be putting up the full clip of this segment on our YouTube page, Take Action News TV on YouTube. And anybody can go in, and I recommend this as sort of the standard way to do it, and take that video and click the share button and share it to YouTube, share it to Google+, share it to Twitter. And the system on YouTube is really neat. If you want to just take my hiccup, you'll need to download the video. There are a variety of tools that scrape Flash videos off of YouTube. If you just search download YouTube videos, you'll find a bunch of free tools. Be careful; some of them are traps for getting viruses or things. But there are a handful of ones that do screen captures, like Debut Video or TVIs. And so when you do that, I'm sorry, not TVIs, but whatever. The Debut Video is a good one. And then you can just clip the piece that you want from this segment. So we'll put up the full discussion. You can clip out and edit the beginning, edit the end, and just leave my hiccup. And then just, if you're really ingenious, you can, load it up into your video software and just make me hiccup repeatedly.
And we could make it like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, we could make a disco beat to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and then do some dubstep, variations of it and a little rapping over the top.
General advice for people who want to, try to spread their video around. What's a proper length, an appropriate length? What seems to be the attention span for people looking at the videos that they first see through social media?
Well, that's an interesting question. It really has to do with the content. Sometimes you can get away with longer content. The general rule of thumb is a minute or two is pretty good. Gangnam Style was like 3 minutes or so because a typical song is about that long. So depending on what it is you're trying to show, there's certain leeway that you can get based on the content sort of manifesting itself and developing itself throughout the length. And so you can get longer clips up there. But by and large, I think, keeping it to a minute or two is going to be the most compelling. Figure out ways to cut right to the chase of what you want people to see. Clip that and post that and start sharing it.
Dr. Alan Rosenblatt, you can follow him on Twitter at Dr. Digipol. He does our social media segment every week. Alan, great stuff. Thanks for talking us through some of the awful Connecticut news. We appreciate it, and great tweeting yesterday as well. Fascinating stuff, and have a good weekend.
You too, David.
Alan Rosenblatt. And by the way, if you have heard him on the radio, you want to see what he looks like, go to our YouTube channel, Take Action News TV. And, of course, you can always tune into a live video stream of our show every Saturday, noon to 3. Take Action News continues with Activists of the Week on the other side of this break. You're listening and watching to We Act Radio's Take Action News.